Hello everybody and welcome to the face reading for successful relationships. For those of you who are with me today for the first time, if you get interested in the subject of face reading, you can watch my YouTube introduction to face reading. You can also buy my book, Face Reading Secrets for Successful Relationships. It is available on Amazon.com. Today I'm going to do a reading of Robin Dearden and Bryan Cranston. This is the fourth and the last reading of the Danaher series. Marla Thomas and Phil Danaher wrote an article, Celebrity Secrets to a Long and Happy Marriage. In the article, they spoke about couples that stayed together for a long time. I chose to do a reading on 4 couples that lived for 30 or more years together. We already know that these relationships work. They even shared with us in the interview in a magazine what made these marriages last so long. What we as face readers are going to do is to attempt to use what we know to see if there are any temperamental or personality characteristics which made these matches so successful. I already did the readings of these couples. And Robin and Bryan are the last but not the least in this series. We start with Bryan. First we read his face, the persona he developed as he was growing up and maturing, and after that we'll look at his profile that embodies his temperament. Look at how he matured. But through all ages, notice his eyebrows did not change. Straight across, that means stubborn. As a boy, he was clearly a Venus, as you can see. Interesting. Many men who were interested in public life from young age, as young boys, had Venus faces, Venus personality. Look it up. I did the readings on Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, other actors, even Adolf Hitler was a Venus at a young age. At this young time, the young man usually is trying to be engaging and seductive and interesting, the young man who wants to be in the public eye. But then in his 20s and 30s, look at Bryan. I'm not sure this photo was taken when he was 30 or 20. But the face is a Pluto. What a transformation from a seductive peacemaker to a conqueror. And only at the older age, as everything, as you know, is moving south, including facial muscles, he became a Mars. So what do we know about Mars? Within the faces of the sanguine temperament, Mars is the most action-oriented. They do not have the patience to address issues. Instead, they fight to get their way. They will enter a fight spontaneously, fighting without regard for life or limb. And I'm talking about physically or emotionally interacting with people. The Mars take risks and are accident prone because they don't take time to assess the situation and have trouble foreseeing consequences. People with Mars personality have the shortest fuse. If they lie, it's not because they're afraid of someone or want to impress someone. It's for expediency, to achieve their immediate needs. Now think how these qualities played out in his relationship. Remember, Brad Pitt and Angelina both were Mars, or are Mars still. See where it brought them. But let's look at Bryan's temperament. Here we can see his profile. Though the chin is protruding like that of a typical sanguine, both the round forehead and the corner of the jaw are clearly bilious. So Bryan, by nature, is willful, organized, and seeking challenges to overcome, while thinking through issues thoroughly. He may be impulsive in action. That's the sanguine chin talking in him. And let's look now at Robin Dearden. Robin's face is not as easy to read. And here is why. Let's look at this picture simply because it's easier to see her whole face. The shape and therefore her personality did not change. So it doesn't matter we look at her pictures at young age or older. Unlike Bryan's, her face stayed the same. Look, Nicole Kidman and the young lady on the left. One is clearly a Venus, the other one is clearly a Sun, right? Robin's face is too narrow for Venus, and the forehead is too straight for the Sun. And as I told you in previous readings, if a person is a little bit of one and a little bit of the other, more than likely they possess characteristics of both. So as a Venus, Robin is peace-loving, resourceful, practical, and loving, but also can be detached and aloof in need for space and freedom, because partially she is a Sun. Both Sun and Venus are from the sanguine temperamental family, and indeed Robin is a sanguine, with impulsivity and impatience and spontaneity and short attention span, and courage and generosity that come with that temperament. She is also naturally kind. Look at the tip of her nose. So if she gets angry and kicks someone's butt, she later feels guilty about it because that's not her nature. Naturally, she's kind. Now let's put it all together. How do all these qualities interact? She is able to be a Venus, as a Venus, warm and seductive, but also takes place for herself and leave him alone. She can be sanguine impulsive, but his bilious organized way of talking possibly cools down her impulses. As a Mars, he can be quite combative and impulsive, but that's when her reconciliatory Venus kicks in. Remember that Shin is also sanguine in Bryan's profile, so he may have an impulse to act as well. Perhaps it helps him to understand her better. That all works if they're committed to work things out no matter what, without judgment. Otherwise, it would be just a non-stop tit for tat. Even more challenging this, look at this. She has a large inner face and he has a smaller face, inner face. So she is way more sensitive than he. She takes a lot in and feels the pain. Look at his upper lip. It was, and it is, thin, meaning that he is not too interested in sharing with what's going inside. Her upper lip is full when she was young and thinned out as she aged. Maybe because with his small inner face, meaning that he is not talking much and not taking in too much, he was not interested in hearing her. And look at this. Her tragus, the space between tragus and antetragus, is very close. And his is quite wide. So it means she does not have the need to talk. But he does. He can express himself if he wishes, but not so interested in hearing out others, particularly that he is also stubborn. Remember the eyebrows, and does not want to hear something that contradicts his wishes. I love Bryan as an actor. I could not wait for the next episode of Breaking Bad. But perhaps the character, excuse me, that's technology. Perhaps the character that he played in Breaking Bad is very close to his own character. And That's why, you know, in the interview, they share that they see a therapist when it's necessary. It puzzles me, otherwise, how this couple survived for so long, and they must be seeing a very good therapist. Or it is a very strong love, which, as we know, conquers all. Or, as King Solomon said, love is as strong as death. And that is all for Robin, Dearden, and Bryan Cranston. Thank you for being with me today. Peace to all who want to live in peace.